you all. This is the official start of the program now, and we really want to thank you all for coming. Our regulars and first timers both. I'm excited to see everybody here because I always think, whether it's a real world event, as an author, you think, oh man, people, there's a million other things they could have done. And they chose to come here to this event, to this tonight, to hear me, in this case, these authors. And it really means the world to us. We spend all of our time at home alone, with our thoughts, writing things down. And it's just really awesome to be able to interact with readers. So thank you all for coming. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Karen Dion. I write psychological suspense that's set in Michigan's Upper Peninsula wilderness. I lived in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for 30 years, starting in the 1970s when my husband and I homesteaded as part of the Back to the Land movement. We lived in a tent and we carried water from a stream, and our oldest child was 6 weeks old when we built our little cabin. And that I think it's interesting because my breakout book, The Marsh King's Daughter, which was my fourth published novel, is about a family that lives off the grid in the Upper Peninsula. So that's kind of fun that I was able to draw on those early experiences and put it in the book. So that's me. I'm going to do this alphabetically. So Taylor Adams, you're up first. Taylor graduated from Eastern Washington University with an Excellence in Screenwriting Award and the Edmund G. Yarwood Award. He's the author of several acclaimed thrillers, including Hairpin Bridge and No Exit. No Exit, which I adored, and it just blew me away. It's been published in 32 languages and was recently adapted by 20th Century Studios as a Hulu original film. Taylor, is it available then now? Can we watch it?
Yes, it is on Hulu.
Oh man, that's awesome. I live in the boonies and I have terrible internet and I can't stream anything, but I'm going to figure out a way to watch that. Lexie Elliot. All right, here's your official bio. Lexie Elliot grew up in Scotland at the foot of the Highlands. Her first attempt at a book came in primary school and featured a horse. Unfortunately, that manuscript has been lost. After losing her banking job during the global financial crisis, Lexie wrote The French Girl, which was followed by The Missing Years, How to Kill Your Best Friend, and her newest, Bright and Deadly Things, which came out February 14. Publishers Weekly gave it a starred review and said Elliot makes her characters feel like real people. Fans of Lucy Foley's guest list will be compulsively turning pages. So thank you, Lexie, for being here. We'll talk again more about your book in the breakout rooms. Next, we have Ana Reyes. She has an MFA from Louisiana State University. Her work has appeared in Bodega, Père Noir, New Delta Review, and elsewhere. She lives in Los Angeles, where she teaches creative writing to older adults at Santa Monica College. And lastly, Wendy Walker, because of the alphabet, W, you're always last, right? Or close to it. Wendy Walker is my dear friend and the national best-selling author of psychological suspense. Her books have been published in over 23 foreign languages and have been optioned for film and television. Wendy is a graduate of Brown University and Georgetown Law School. Prior to writing, she worked as a lawyer, investment banker, and trained for competitive figure skating. Her novels include Don't Look for Me, the Audible original American Girl, and her latest, What Remains, which will be available on June 13. So now that we've whet your appetite for, these wonderful books, again, you can ask questions about the author and find out more about their book in the breakout rooms. Now we're going to play a quick game of not quite 20 questions, because this too gives you a chance to get familiar with the author and their likes and dislikes. We have official backroom cards. You see that? So, I'm not just making these up on the fly here. And so I'm going to ask the questions in the order in which I see you on my screen, which means, Anna, you get the hardest question ever.
Okay.
Is your desk messy or tidy?
Ooh, messy. I'm very messy always.
All right. Girl after my own heart. Once we got an author who said they were, a compulsive neat freak. And, I think they turned their screen and showed us. And yeah, it was like amazing. But yeah. Okay.
I won't be showing anyone my desk.
All right. And Wendy, your next step, where do you write?
I have to write
in like a lounge chair or on a sofa with my feet up and a blanket and a tray with coffee and little chocolate treats. So I pretend that I'm not actually working. That's my trick to get me started in the morning.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
I like that. I might have to adopt that.
We have these various tricks, don't we, to make ourselves do things that we don't really want to do. That's a good one. Taylor, what was the title of the first thing you ever wrote?
Oh man. I think it was called Lahar, which is the name for a mud flow, because I live in Washington. We have Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is a volcano. They say at some point it's going to erupt again, and mud flows, lahars, are a big part of that. And so my very first novel, written in like high school, was a disaster thriller about Mount Rainier erupting. It's been lost to the sands of time. I don't know, and that's probably for the best, that it'll never see the light of day.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you wrote a whole novel in high school, though.
I know, that's very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I was answering this, it would be like a one-page story I wrote in second grade or something. So, yeah, no wonder you went far. Lexie, what's the first thing you do when you get an idea for the book?
I let it marinate for a while. I don't jump straight in. And usually an idea for a novel for me is more like a kind of feeling about a setting, maybe an interesting location, a sense of atmosphere. And, I need to let it sit for a while and then the characters will come out of that. So yeah, it's not a quick process for me. It's not like, oh, must record that on my phone or something like that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I always like questions about process. And again, we'll have a chance to ask more questions like that in the breakout rooms. All right, Anna, back to you. What's one thing you've always wanted to try, but you've been too scared to do?
I've never tried escargot. A lot of people I know really like it. So I think at some point I'll probably try it, but I'm not in a hurry.
I tried it once and I almost threw up.
Yeah, that's my fear. The texture.
Yeah, slightly overrated.
Yeah. And Hank posted in the chat, she loves escargot. So maybe when we all get together in person, Hank can serve us up some and watch our reactions to it. Wendy, this might be the same answer, but what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Oh boy. Adventurous. I guess it would have to be maybe the trip to Iceland, actually. I did a lot of touring before the conference last year. And we went to there was a waterfall, and I actually went further than I was supposed to get underneath it. And Jean Kwok was yelling like, Wendy, don't come back. But it was like heart pounding, and then I realized I'd gone too far, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be one of those tourists that's on YouTube, like tourist goes past warning sign and dies. And everyone's like, idiot, So yes, that was probably it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I'd be right there with you, not calling you an idiot, but, getting carried away and wandering too far. Taylor, what's the best thing that happened to you today?
Well, we have a 7-month-old, and I think just we woke up. Well, she brought him in, and I woke up to him like in my face and like in a really cute way. So I think that was the best thing. It was a really nice way to wake up.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Is that your first?
Yep, his name is Nolan.
Yay. Okay.
He's awesome. Crawling now. As of this week, he is crawling, and that is a game changer. Like, no longer can you just set him in the same spot and be like, okay, he'll be here when I, come back. Now he can move.
That's cool. That's very cool. We might ask for an appearance in the breakout rooms. Lexie, what are you most excited about these days?
Usually about seeing my kids, because they're at boarding school. I mean, not too far away, so I can go up and see them like a couple of times a week. But they've been home this weekend for a long weekend for the coronation, and it's been really lovely having them around.
Yes, I was going to sneak in a trick question, instead of the official cards and just say, have you ever attended a coronation?
Haven't attended.
Yeah.
I was not one of the ones in Westminster Abbey, I'm afraid.
But you celebrated, didn't you?
We did. We had a lovely street party, and that was exciting. And yeah, I think everybody around here has really gotten into the spirit of things. And even yesterday, people were maybe watching on the telly, but then running outside to try and see the flyover with the red arrows. And yeah, that was lots of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Glad to have through you a first person seat. And so we've asked the 4 authors, what book did you read recently that you think everybody should read? Anna, start with you.
Sure. Well, I unfortunately am in the process of moving and I've already shipped all my books to the East Coast. So I don't have a copy, but there it is. The Keep by Jennifer Egan is, I think a lot of people who are here today would probably really like it because it has that thriller pacing and mystery at its heart. But it's also kind of experimental and it's an example of a story within a story, which is one of my all-time favorite tropes. So if you haven't checked out The Keep, it's actually my favorite Jennifer Egan book.
Nice. Thank you. And Wendy, what book are you recommending tonight?
So this is, can you see it? Notes on an Execution. Yep. By Danya Kukafka. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And this is a book about a serial killer who is on death row. And I think he's got 12 hours to live. And it has multiple points of view. She writes it in second person, present tense, which makes it's just really unique for his sort of point of view while he's going hour by hour to the execution. And then we hear from his mother, and we also hear from the victims. And so it's really this deep dive into the mind of a serial killer. And it's dark. I love dark. So you have to, be willing to go there. But it just brings it demystifies it in a way and brings you into sort of this damage at early childhood that was done to this man, and then how it played out as he met these young women throughout his life, and the impulses and the need, almost the desire need to kill them. And so it's dark, but it is it's fascinating and it's beautifully written.
Thank you. Aline posted in the chat that it just won the Edgar. So.
Yes. I meant to say that it just won the Edgar. Yes, it did.
So that's pretty awesome. That's a big deal. Yeah. Thank you. Taylor, what book are you recommending that everyone read?
Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. So it's kind of a genre-defying, I guess, semi-horror story. It's about a complicated friendship. I think that's about all I can say about the plot, but it's so good. And it's written actually as a manuscript written by one character, and then with handwritten editor's notes by like a second character, so you can kind of see in the margins. That kind of thing. I love that kind of like meta book within a book stuff a lot. I think that's so fun. So you've got 2 dueling unreliable narrators, so they really challenge, who you believe as a reader. And it's funny, it's creepy, it's absolutely heartbreaking at the end, and I love it.
Wow, that's very cool, intriguing. And finally, Lexie, what book are you recommending that everyone read?
Let's see. Oh, you can see that? Oh, good, you can. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which, I think a lot of people would put that into the category maybe of paranormal fantasy, but it's really just a super pacey thriller, kind of with a detective angle to it. It's so well written. It's dark, it's twisted, it's got heart in there as well. And I've been totally blown away by that. And when the second one came out, I think I devoured it in a day. I was, putting aside all other commitments to make sure I raced through it. So yeah, it's really excellent.
Yeah, thank you. And again, when writers who read books all the time, excellent books being published by their publisher and whatever, find one that stands out, you definitely want to pay attention.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed this taste of what a backroom event is like. The best part comes immediately after, when the audience is divided into 4 breakout rooms and the authors visit each room in turn. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like because these relaxed face-to-face conversations between authors and readers are the hallmark of our backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded. What's said in the backroom stays in the backroom.